Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review, so hopefully you find this one interesting. This movie is a horror comedy from Australia, English language, released in the year 2019, directed by Roache-Turner, and this film is called Nekrotronic. So Nekrotronic is a cautionary tale. It's basically our obsession with mobile phones and applications on those phones. And so you guys remember Pokemon Go, where everyone was obsessed with that. They wanted to catch Pokemon, and it really was something to be a little bit disturbed by, is that we're so intent on looking at our phones and trying to do these sort of silly video games. And so this movie is kind of like that, but it takes place with catching ghosts. Now the main character, he has a best friend who's obsessed with this game. They work at this sewerage collection business. So one day they're driving the truck and the friend is playing this game and starting to irritate the driver. But then what they don't realise is that this game is far more sinister than they first anticipated, because it's being run by a demon. Now this demon has decided that the best way to possess people is through the internet. So anyone who plays this game, the elements in this game is actually going to possess them, and it's going to suck their soul out, and they're going to be mindless zombies. And so this demon has this grand plan of world takeover, but what she doesn't bank on was the fact that the main character has some hidden talents that he didn't know about, and when he realizes his hidden talents, he becomes a reluctant hero. Is that he is the last line between humanity and humanity's extinction, and so he's going to have to take it upon himself in order to save us all. So whether or not he can stop this demon in time is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Nekrotronic. I was eagerly anticipating this movie for two reasons. Number one, Roache-Turner is a fantastic director. He directed a film called Wormwood, which is one of my favourite horror comedies to come out in a very long time. I reviewed it a long time ago, so if you want to know what I thought in detail, please look it up. But I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And so for that reason, I really wanted to see his follow-up film, Nekrotronic. It looked a little bit different, but it still felt as it had the same element that made him so good in the first place. And so he doesn't lose his trademark. And number two, I think the most interesting element to this movie was the calibre of acting. You got David Wenham, who is a fantastic Australian actor, but more surprisingly, you've got Monica Bellucci. Now, Monica Bellucci is an Italian-born French actress who is more well known for her harrowing performance in Gaspar Noé's Irreversible. If you guys are familiar with French extremity, you know full well what Irreversible is. And so to see someone of Monica Bellucci's calibre in a film of this nature, I was very surprised by. That's nothing against Roache-Turner, but Monica Bellucci, you would associate her with really well-established directors, not little-known Australian directors. So I thought that was definitely a very surprising element. It's an element that I think a lot of people are going to gravitate to, and it's the reason why a lot of people are going to want to watch it. On the trailer and the thumbnail, you've got Monica Bellucci's face. Now, she is not only one of the most beautiful women on the planet, but she's also very talented. And so to use her as a marketing ploy, I thought was very interesting. It was also very intelligent, but I had skepticism based on the fact that, is a director like Roache-Turner going to be able to utilise the potential of such an actress, and also David Wenham? And so I did have my hesitations, but I was very, very excited to see what Nekrotronic could deliver, and what it delivers is very impressive in its visuals, but unfortunately it was a little bit disappointing and nowhere near as good as Wormwood, because it doesn't have charming characters. And I think that is down to the fact that the script is lacking, and so the overall visuals is compensating for that missing element. And the missing element does take a little bit of fun out of the film, but having said that, it is still a movie that I would definitely recommend if you are a fan of science fiction horror comedies, because there are some moments that actually made me laugh, and there are some moments of very, very impressive visuals as far as cinematography, as far as CGI is concerned. The cinematography is very vibrant, very colourful. It has a very cartoonish atmosphere, which is very trademark of Wormwood. And so this is a director who really knows what it is like to make a comic book kind of film, is that it does take you out of the realms of reality, therefore you can disconnect yourself and have a lot of fun at what is actually going on. And so I thought that there's a lot of things going on in this film. It's very convoluted, but I actually thought that the more I got into the film, it became a little bit more easier to understand. And so a lot of people say it tries way too much, but I don't agree with that. I think it definitely has a hold of everything, and although it threatens to lose control, I don't really think it lost control to the point of you becoming confused. If you're actually paying attention, you will know what was going on. And so I thought that the acting for what it was okay, and I thought there were some set pieces there that, as I said, are quite gory and at the same time quite funny as well. And so it is a different type of film to Wormwood, but it does have that Roache-Turner feel to it. And so this is the director who doesn't lose the quality that makes him that very interesting person to start with. And so that's something I really have to applaud. But unfortunately, as I said, I just don't think the script allowed these characters to blossom wasn't anything that I could actually like. I actually thought there were some moments that become very irritating, and I thought there were some moments that I thought were a wasted opportunity. And the biggest wasted opportunity was definitely David Wenham and Monica Bellucci. I thought they were there to sell the film because their characters, I thought if they were no-name actors, it really wouldn't have made any difference. And so why were they there? And ultimately, they're like the token actor who is there to basically splash themselves on the marketing, and people are going to want to go and watch it, but I don't think the director had the capability to really shine and showcase how great these actors actually are. And I know it's very difficult in a film of this nature, and that's why I was surprised to see such big names. And I just thought as though it was a ploy to sell the film as opposed to actually give you a satisfying performance if you are a fan of these two actors. And so that was the biggest problem. I thought that the sidekick of this main character was the comedy relief, and he became very, very irritating. And that's something that was non-existent in Wormwood. I thought every character in Wormwood was hilarious, whereas in this movie, I just don't think the comedy works. I think the comedy was forced a little bit too much. And so I got the impression that it was more, basically it was more worried about making really good special effects and visuals, which, visually it is very impressive. But unfortunately, as I said, that's compensating for the lack of those charming characters, those quirky characters. Yes, it's a very quirky film, but I just thought as though the script was lackluster and it didn't really elevate to anything that was terribly memorable as far as the people you're actually watching what was going on. So I like the idea that it is a cautionary tale about our use of technology, but once again, the story wasn't as great as it really could have been. I've actually seen this thing done before, cautionary tales about social media and all that kind of stuff, so it wasn't anything that was groundbreaking. And so the whole film just has that lack of motivation. Is that, yes, visually it's very, very good, but unfortunately, as far as story is concerned, as far as acting is concerned, it just has a very pedestrian level to it. And so that was ultimately the biggest problem to the film, and it's the reason why it's nowhere near as good as Wormwood, and it's the reason why I was slightly disappointed. But pushing that aside, it's still a movie that's worth your time, but it's nothing that I was hoping it would be. So overall, for Nekrotronic, still go out there and see it. I'm going to give this one 3 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.